So this short video is to explain how we would recommend that you pack the boxes that are ultimately going to go out to the clients. There are three reasons why we try and pack them in a particular way. Firstly, if we, as we'll demonstrate, pack them in the style we prefer, we can get more product into each box, so we don't have to get as many boxes. Secondly, if we pack them in this way that we'll show you, they stack stably and therefore they're a nice stable pile taking less space in the church. Thirdly, that stable pile, when it goes in the back of the car, is less likely to get spilled. So they're the three reasons why we're going to demonstrate this. This particular video is where you will have gone round and picked your products and followed the list, and you will then end up with one or more crates of product. You probably will find towards the end you'll have picked up some really bulky cereals, some bulky tea possibly, and maybe en route you picked up some nappies. Suggest you set those aside to begin with. The core of what we're trying to do is make the most of these shallow boxes, and what we're trying to do is to be able to stack them up. What really makes a difference here when we stack them is if you can put 4 regular sized tins in the corner. You can put more than one in the corner, that doesn't matter, but ultimately what we're trying to do is get 4 tins in the corner, which means when the next tray is stacked on the top, it's nice and stable, and thus we build a lovely straight stack. So when you've got your 4 tins, you can then put your other products in. I won't teach you how to pack as densely as you can, but try and pack them fairly well. You may have some laundry products, you might have some pasta sauces, more laundry products, you might find a few more tins. So broadly what we're trying to do is make the use of the volume. So here we can turn these up and get more in than if we had them lying flat. Just use a little bit of common sense and see how much you can get in. Pot noodles, slightly higher, not great, they'll crush, so they need to go on the side, ham, etc. So you'll ultimately fill this with all the product. And for this demonstration, to keep it short, I'm not going to pack it perfectly, but you can take a little bit more time. Once that layer's done, next layer comes on top, and we then do the same with more tins. Now, one watch out. The vegetable tins seem to have gone through a shrinking process in the factory and are not the same height as your normal baked beans and soup tins. So just remember that you're looking for good old-fashioned tins like baked beans, you can have them however you wish. The veg ones can go next to it, but they just don't carry the load. And ultimately then, you fill your next one. Ideally, try to spread the load because people do need to lift these. So some of the lighter products like noodles, or we have toilet rolls, bags of pasta, these tend to keep the weight down. And ultimately, you keep doing that, adding as you go. Now, we've got a few bits left on the table here. If we were to take the same principle and put some more tins in the corner, yes, you can put a nice big cereal box in there, but you very rapidly find one cereal box and nappies and we're full. So generally on these final light ones, it's okay to stack them up like this, including often the tea, and we will accept that the top box on your stack is probably going to be oversized. So that's generally what we'd ask you to do. So in summary, please try and use a tin, standard size in each corner, or several, and then infill and build a nice stack. And as you can see here, I'm pretty much taking all my weight off the floor because this is carrying a perfect amount of weight. If you've got any questions, there are bound to be some experienced packers around, or the team leader, and they're more than happy to share their hints and tips. But if you start with this, you should find that you can build some beautiful stacks. Thanks for all your effort.
Quick question, Simon. We do sometimes run short of boxes. When should we be using carrier bags?
Great question, Jessica. So actually this last stuff is a good example. If we are running short of boxes, and your team leader will say if we are, typically we find that the awkward stuff like cereals, nappies, tea, sometimes bulky, dry cat food is good to go in the carrier bags, and some of the packers choose to also put tall, thin things like oil or squash in there as well. So if you are asked to do that, I would tend to suggest that you go for the bigger, bulkier stuff in the carrier bags. And the one thing when you do that is we generally would then, in the main hall, when you carry these boxes through, they sit on the top of the table. Generally we pop the carrier bags underneath, normally, unless you're asked to do differently.
Thanks very much.
Okay.